Welcome back to the Morristown Market Report. I'm Amy Schrader with Remax Real Estate 10.
And I'm Kim Swan with Union Home Mortgage.
And we are here by ourselves today. We had a guest and they were unable to come at the last minute. So this is our last community spotlight that we'll be doing this year. We are still going to continue this into 2025. So if you have a local business in Hamlin County, or if you are a nonprofit in our area and you would like to be featured on our Facebook Live every Wednesday in 2025, then please send me a DM or leave a comment below, and we would love to talk with you and get you on our schedule for next year. So, what you got going on, Kim Swan? Well, are y'all as dead as we are?
Yeah. Got a few more for the year. It's in the end of December. Got one Friday, one Monday, and then one the next week. But yeah, it's really new stuff slow down.
Yeah.
People are doing other things besides wanting to get pre-qualified to buy a home right now.
Yeah, I mean, we've got several newer agents here in the office, and they're just kind of wandering around. They're like, so is it always this slow? And I'm like, yeah, at Christmas time, it kind of is. We're getting a few showings here and there on different houses, but, most people are more involved right now.
Absolutely.
Trying to get ready for the holidays, and, you got to understand that. So it's one of those cyclical things, and
absolutely,
hopefully, if we don't have a rough January, weather-wise, then it'll be back in full force, I think. So the Fed's meeting today. They are supposed to reduce the Fed funds rate again by a quarter, I believe is what they've said. But they're saying that mortgage rates are really not going to feel the impact of that. So what do you think?
Well, they haven't been, before the anticipation of them dropped our rates. And then when the Fed actually dropped them, then our rates started moving up a little bit. So, as we know, they're not directly correlated together. So, nothing is indicating much to go down next year. I mean, that's, as we always say, the experts, who, what they are just...
Who can retract any statement very quickly, we will say that.
Quick.
Because they will come out and talk about, oh yeah, in 2025, we're going to see rates down in that 5% range. Mm-hmm. And then a few things change, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, we told you all along, rates are not going to get below 6% next year.
Mm-hmm. Well, at the beginning of 2024, they said by the end of the year we would be in the fives, and we're not.
We're not. Nowhere near it.
We're not. So, So maybe them saying rates are not going to come down for 2025, maybe they'll actually be the opposite, and they'll come down. So.
Yeah, and I know one of the things they said that has kind of played into mortgage rates not dropping like everyone assumed they would was the result of the election that we recently had for our new president, based on some of the economic policies that they think our president-elect will put into place, such as the tariffs on a lot of these countries. They think that is going to have a big impact on our economy. So they're kind of hedging their bets, I think. Absolutely. And just saying, okay, that kind of changes the realm of what we thought was going to happen. But time is the only thing that will give us that answer.
And, it's hard because, you've done this for a long time, and I have as well. And we saw those 3% and 4% rates, which were amazing and kept everybody very busy. But still in the grand scheme of things, 6s are not horrible. We've seen it a lot worse.
They're not. And I mean, I don't know exactly what year you started. I know when I started doing mortgages, I believe it was like 01. And we were refinancing people at 7.5%, 8%.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that was a good rate back then. And they were refinancing and consolidating debts. And, I think 2025 is just going to be that year that if we can see some kind of stability in the rates and not this jump up, jump down, jump up, if we can see some stability, I think some people are just going to make that leap of, okay, this is what it's going to look like now. And, if you need to move, you need to move, regardless of what the rate is, regardless of what the market is. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see a lot of the on-the-fence sellers who don't want to give up that low interest rate. I think we're going to see more of them, decide, hey, it's time.
Right.
I think you had a lot of people in 2020 and 2021 that bought because the rates were so good. It was a great environment, a great market. And they just, they kind of settled, I think.
Absolutely.
This was the house they got. They've not, it wasn't what they wanted in the end. And so I think we're going to see some of those people realize, okay, yeah, we've got the equity.
Mm-hmm.
And if we took the equity we make and put it towards a new house, you know what I'm saying? I think it can offset the payment, maybe.
Well, and even in a couple of years, so many people's, family size changes up or down, so you got people that need bigger homes and you got other people who want a smaller home. So I think we've had a couple of years of not being crazy busy that it's like now it's like, well, I said I'm going to have to do it. And hopefully if the Fed drops these rates, one thing I'm seeing a lot now is when I pull credit reports is credit card payments. Of course, what the Fed's doing will hopefully lower those credit card interest rates because I'm hearing people say it's over 20% on credit card,
And I'll be honest, I have no idea what the interest rate on my credit cards is.
Yeah.
Because I'll pay them off at the end of every month.
Yeah.
Like I use it as a convenience thing for business expenses or whatever. But yeah, I just pay it off at the end of the month. So I have no idea what my credit cards are at. I'm probably getting screwed if I were to carry a balance. But
I think if you do, I had one the other day that I'd put a trip on or something, so it was $4,000 or $5,000, and it said if you made the minimum payment, it was going to take like 6 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, people don't do that, because you're going to pay so much in interest. So.
And don't you wish you knew all the things about finance and managing money that you know now back when you were like 20 years old?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I don't know that, and maybe they do now, but, high schools need to teach that,
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, well, I didn't think they did, but they need to, because again, people think, oh, I just got to make the minimum payment. That's all I got to do. And I'm like, okay, you're.
Well, and that's like we talked about when I bought my car a couple of months ago. Like car dealers sell you on payment.
Absolutely.
They don't focus on the cost of that vehicle. They're selling you on their payment. And for me, I wasn't payment conscious. I was price conscious.
Right.
Like, I don't care what the monthly payment is because I'm probably going to pay more than that anyway.
Right.
I don't want to pay more than X for a vehicle.
Right.
Period. It's just going to hurt my heart too bad. It hurt my heart to pay $20,000 for a vehicle. I'm not going to lie to you, but that's just one of those things. I didn't grow up thinking I had to drive a brand new car.
Right.
Or a Lexus or a Mercedes or a BMW. And no offense to anybody that drives those, kudos to you, but that's just not my thing.
Well, you put so many miles on them too with your job, so yeah, you just want something dependable and yeah.
Something that gets me from point A to point B and that doesn't look like a raggedy hoopty mobile or something, But so yeah, but yeah, that's what they do is they try to save you on that payment because everybody's focused on payments.
Absolutely.
And I know when I did mortgages and worked at SunTrust, I would actually go to the different high schools and do like a credit preparedness class, and even did it at Carson Newman a couple of times. And kids they call it chapel credit. It's not exactly chapel anymore, obviously, if they're letting me speak, right? But like when I went to Carson Newman, it was chapel credits. You had to have so many per semester. And now they've opened it up to where it's not just chapel, but it's like, life education type classes as well. So, but it's amazing that that's not a requirement of kids because, they don't understand. And what I found in going to the high schools and talking to those kids, they only know what they live day to day.
Yes.
And so if you live in a household where the bills are paid on time, you're never worried about your power being turned off or, the water bill not being paid or the car being ripped. If that's how you grow up, then guess what? You're probably going to be pretty financially responsible as you get older. But if you grow up in an environment where it's not uncommon for the power to get cut off every other month, or the water, or you're having to shop for a new vehicle at a buy here, pay here because your last one got repossessed, that's the cycle that they're going to continue because they don't know any different way to do it. And I made the mistake of talking about buy here or the cash advance loans, the payday loan places. You know what I'm saying? And I was just explaining what those places are. And that nobody ever really truly pays it back. You know what I'm saying? That once you get in that cycle of writing that $300 or $400 check in advance of your paycheck, there's always something that you're never able to pay them back that money. And so you're having to renew it every time. And
Right.
you're paying a $50 fee, to renew or whatever it was at the time. And, yeah, I had a parent call me the next day because, and even as teenagers, kids will go home and they will just act like they know it all now. And so this teenager had went home and told their parents that I said they were not financially responsible people because they did these cash advance loans. So that was fun. That was a great conversation. But you do have to take into account, there are going to be people who live that way.
Well,
but I think trying to help them find a way out of that
right.
is important.
But one thing we're seeing now is there's these type of accounts, and it's similar, but it's like Afterpay, Klarna, and I've seen it like if you go online to purchase something from Amazon, there'll be something that says, oh, you can pay this over 4 payments. Well, those accounts don't report to the credit bureaus. However, when we get bank statements, if we've got a bank statement, we've got to look at what's coming in, what's going out, and if there's IRS payments, if there's payments to Afterpay, depending on the size of those and how many, that may affect their debt to income. We may have to count those debts. And I've had people that we've had one, he actually had bought a bunch of tools. From 3 different places. So he had all these, and they added up to like over $300 a month that he was paying on those tools. So guess what? We thought he was pre-qualified for, he wasn't, So people think, oh, well, they're going to let me pay this over so many months. I'm going to do this on boots and tools and all this stuff. And it's like, no, you really just need to go ahead. If you can't pay for it, don't buy it.
Yeah.
And I know it's Christmas.
Words of wisdom
and
from
it's
our
hard
parents.
if you have children.
And I mean, Christmas I think is a little different because you're always going to kind of overspend.
Right.
And then a lot of people overspend at Christmas knowing they're going to get that refund check come February.
Yes, definitely.
We don't get refund checks in my business, but be that as it may.
No.
All right, so I kind of did a little market report for today and just kind of looking at what we've done year to date in 2024 versus where we were at in 2023. So year to date so far, we've closed 573 homes here in Hamlin County. The average sales price runs about $315,500 with 39 days on the market. Those homes sold for about 96% of what their list price was. The home sale prices ranged anywhere from $27.5 up to $1.5 million. Okay? Now, in 2023, same time period, we had sold 611 homes. So we are down in number of units. Like we talked about all year, we had an inventory shortage. But the average sales price in 2023 was $285,300, 50 days on the market, and around 96.5% list to sale price ratio. Sold prices ranged anywhere from $10,000 up to a little over $1 million. So our average home sales price in Hamlin County has risen 10.5% year over year. The median sales price has went up 5.5%. So for me, 5.5% as a median growth number is pretty stable. I mean, you're not, like, to me, 10.5%, that's a little scary because that's a balloon number. But I didn't bring the numbers in here with me for this, but I had done a report on luxury home sales in Hamlin County for this year. And we have actually sold 23 homes in Hamlin County that are $600,000 or above this year. Last year, there were only 13 homes that sold in Hamlin County above $600,000. So I think that's part of the reason that average has pulled up. I don't think it's necessarily that the home price, has gained that much appreciation, but I think we've just had more homes that have sold in the higher price bracket this year. And I mean, 23 in a year, that's only 2 a month. You know what I'm saying? Right. But last year we only had 1 a month with 13, so
that's
we almost doubled it.
That's very good information because, like you said, we don't want a big increase and then have a
I mean that's what happened to the lake homes back in the 2008, 2009. But I mean, if you're growing at a 5% rate for average prices, I think that's kind of where you want to be. You want to have growth, but not be astronomical.
Absolutely.
So, but right now in Hamlin County, we have 133 homes active and available for sale. We have 73 homes that are under contract. Of course, we're coming to the year's end, so a lot of deals will get closed out the last day of the year if the title companies are open. If not, it'll be the day before.
Absolutely.
That's always fun at the end of the year, trying to figure in when the title companies are going to be closed for Christmas, when they're going to be closed for New Year's, what you're going to be able to close and when. It's always a gamble, if you will, but I've got one closing left for this year. It will be on Friday, and it's on a campground. So,
Good one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It'll be a nice little Christmas bonus for me there. But other than that, like, we've kind of closed out the book, so to speak. We're just waiting on this one. So it makes it nice when you don't feel like rushed and crazy at the end of the year trying to scramble for all those.
Right, absolutely.
I know this year you did cakes and closings. How many cakes have you made this year?
89 cakes for the year, and I've got 2 more. So hoping to get 100, but we'll take the 91. So.
There you go. Well, that can be your goal for next year, to get 100 cakes.
I already set it up. It's my goal. So.
All right. She's doing cakes and closings, and I'm doing coffee and contracts. So if you're thinking about selling next year, but you're not sure if that's the game plan, feel free to hit me up. We can go out, have a cup of coffee, and talk about it and see if maybe that would be a good move for you to do in 2025. Again, if you're interested in being on our weekly live, then please leave a comment, send us a DM. We're going to start scheduling businesses for 2025, and we would love to help your business out by promoting you on our Facebook. Thanks, everybody, and hope y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.